Hello, I'm Halwyn, and welcome to Overwatch Contenders. This is the grand final between O2 Blast and Element Mystic and the Korean contenders. So, in this video, I want to talk about one thing, is that this Hackfist composition that we're seeing will not dominate in Overwatch League, and it does not beat GOATs. It's just not a magic end-all be-all, but I'm going to explain why it doesn't beat GOATs. So, this meta actually happened back in the Tier 2, Tier 3 scene a while back, I think December. So like 5 months ago. So let's talk about why that is. So we have goats here. It's the predominant comp. All the other compositions are adaptations of it besides Hackfist. And the adaptation is going to be Kree comp, which goats beats Kree comp. But the reason why Kree comp is even a thing is because of Hackfist. Kree comp really did beat Hackfist. It was an extremely good peel composition, but outside of the peel, it wasn't amazing. It couldn't beat Goats because Goats just slams right into you and beats you up. But Hackfist was able to beat Goats because Goats teams at that time were not really that good. It wasn't super developed at that point yet. The resource management and positioning was not fully developed, so teams were making mistakes here. So Hackfist was able to take advantage of that. But as soon as teams got good, the matchup got turned on its head and Goats just beat Hackfist. Only teams with really good Doomfists and Sombras could really effectively run it, and even then, it just got outplayed by Goats because Goats got good. So then these two don't happen, and we're left with Goats, which is where we're currently at. But Element Mystic are running this composition again. And the reason it's working is because O2 Blast and the teams that were facing them previously let it work. Basically, this composition is extremely slow. You have to wait for these two to get in position and then you can engage. And you need to be Goats is probably the fastest. You could argue Double Sniper was faster, but Goats is probably the fastest meta to ever be in Overwatch. It is rapid fire, always moving, and really the engages can take a while, but overall the engages are quick. So we have that down. But when you take these two and they just can't engage because they can get a hack off, they need to have Doomfist set up. Doomfist needs to give these two a provided advantage before these two can engage because they don't have the sustain to keep these two alive against the Goats team. So that's a lot of resources you're missing from these two picks. Well, actually, not the sorry, but you're missing your D.Va and Brigitte. And Brigitte stun, you don't have that, so Orions are a bit more free. You can't get a shatter through as easily when you have the stun. You don't have the same peel since you don't have the D.Va. It may seem much more aggressive, but Goats has a much ability to be way more aggressive than this composition because Ghost can right now, if O2 Blast just hard engage onto this Rhine, Sparkle, who would come from a top, would have to try and peel that, even though his character, well, Doomfist is okay at peeling. It's nothing great once his abilities are used. So then O2 Blast creates a 5-on-1 onto Sparkle, and Sparkle just dies. And there's not much you could do there. If you force a ally bubble out of the Zarya, then you win. If he does an ally bubble, then most likely Alpha or whatever his name is dead at that point because you just have that ability. They don't have the sustain to deal with it. You also the Sombra takes a while to get working too because well the Sombra has to deal damage to get her ult, and then her ult is why Sombra is at all viable right now. So what we do to deal with that is we have Lucio matching the Sombra whenever Sombra appears. Brigitte and D.Va can help with that matchup, and Ana can too if possible. But I would prefer Zenyatta here, even though that sounds counterintuitive against the Sombra. Zenyatta just puts out more pressure. That's just my personal preference. I prefer the pressure output than the nades and stuff. So there's my 2 cents on dealing with the Sombra. Doomfist is just gonna be okay. He's here. Hi. We're just gonna go 5-1 you, because outside of an ally bubble, there is nothing that could peel the Doomfist when he engages. He has to ditch, and once he's out, you have the sustain advantage, and you just go and take the fight to them. And if he hits your front line, well, your front line should be fine, because all that your front line has to worry about for damage-wise is a Zarya, which is should have a little bit of difficulty getting a high charge, and if she is at high charge, then she sacrifices a lot of resources onto with off of the Doomfist, and the Doomfist takes the resources to do engages. Like every time an ally bubble goes off, if the Doomfist does not engage with ally bubble, he's at a big risk. And your other damage source is Lucio, so it's like, lol. So if you just Ghost just slammed right in here, force resources, and then played around here, but whenever Element Mystic's core would show up, they just push in a little bit. Never go into this corridor because it's a corridor of death. Corridors are just bad for you. Unless their Doomfist has recently been forced to disengage. If he has no resources, then you can go and smack him in the corridor. But it's risky. And you only want to pull out when you get that one kill or they are starting to get their cooldowns back. Now, I want to pay attention to another thing that happens here, which is stupid. Mandu's going to make a big mistake, and I just want to point it out. Hi, Mandu. I know what you're going for. You're going for an isolation play onto Kaiser. No. You're going on isolation play onto Alpha to kick him right here so you guys can isolate play here. Boom, he's dead. Since you block everything there. But it's just, you can't really do that against this composition. You have to just take it honestly and straight up. You'll win the fight every time if you take it on a straight up fight. Well, consistently. Straight up fight. So that's my thoughts. I do not think it'll become dominant. I think it can see some play in the tier 3 scene because of there's a lot of mistakes down there. But like when you start seeing the Shock and Titans level teams, this comp is going to get abused so hard, it's just a joke. And that's what Overwatch League teams are facing. So even the mediocre Overwatch League teams would be able to beat this comp pretty easily. So that's my 2 cents here.